Hi, I'm so glad you're here. My name is Carrie Tracy. I help teachers and educators of all kinds learn how to expertly implement rigorous and standards-based STEM challenges through my trainings like this one and my teaching resources on feelgoodteaching.com and stemchallenge.com, as well as in my Teachers Pay Teachers shop, which is called Carrie Tracy. So today we're here to talk about the top 3 mistakes teachers are making with STEM challenges and how to fix it fast. In fact, so fast that I'm going to try to keep this training super short and sweet because I know how busy you are. I'm aiming to come in under 10 minutes. So let's dive straight into the training. I bet whether you are just starting with STEM challenges or if you've already been doing them a while, but you're here because you want to see maybe there are a couple of things you could be doing a little bit better, I bet some of these mistakes are actually going to come as a big surprise to you. So mistake number 1, you spend most of your STEM challenge time on the build phase. Now, it's really easy to do, right? Because the build is sort of like the fun and flashy part. But it's kind of like when you go on vacation and you have to take a plane ride to get to the destination. Sure, there could be some really great adventures and fun stuff that happen on the plane ride, but the real vacation doesn't start until after you get off the plane, right? So the build phase is like that plane ride. We need it to get to our destination, but some of the most critical educational outcomes that we're probably trying to get at can't be achieved until we get off the plane, right? They actually come after the build phase is over. So I told you I was going to help you fix things fast, right? So here's how you fix it fast. I want you to, the next STEM challenge you do, I want you to keep track of how much time you spend on the different steps, whether you're following the engineering design process, the STEM challenge cycle like I use, or you have your own format. Time out the steps. You know, how much time do you give students to plan and build, and how much time are you giving them on the other end to present their designs, answer questions of each other, whole class discussion, recording, reflecting, design analysis, and even content related standards, extensions, and multiple iterations. And then check, are your STEM challenges really dominated by the build? For me, I think if you're at 50% or higher of your STEM challenge time is on the build, you want to look to decrease that and build up some of those other aspects post-challenge, because that's where all the magic is really happening. And I would actually try to get that down to maybe around 30%. And the reason that I say that is, this is really where the students make meaning of what they did in the challenge. It's where they synthesize that information. It's where they learn to identify patterns and develop their scientific reasoning and analysis. So that, to me, means we should be weighting our time more toward those really important steps. Does that make sense? Do you agree? All right, so the next mistake is choosing doable STEM challenges. Now, this can be so tempting, right? Because why wouldn't you want to choose something that's very fun and doable and simple and streamlined and doesn't turn your classroom into chaos, right? So one of the things that we need to be looking at is what we're actually aiming to achieve with our STEM challenges. And some of those really big, meaty, rich, deep educational goals that I just talked about, and I didn't even mention any of this, the growth mindset skills we can help our kids develop, those things can only happen if we're giving our students true challenges, right? We can't make it too simple or too easy. So how do you fix this one fast? You've got to vet your resources. So I have 5 questions I ask myself when I'm looking at a resource to say, is this really worthy of my instructional minutes? Is this really going to give me the outcomes that I'm looking for, all the benefits that a good STEM challenge can bring me to, and my students, of course? So question 1, is it open-ended? If it's too easy for your kids, if it has step-by-step directions, it is not a STEM challenge, it's IKEA furniture. Next question, are there at least 2 strands of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math integrated? Now we want to aim for 4, but 2 is sort of your entry level. As long as it has 2, you're probably okay. If you haven't caught on yet, you need to be able to answer yes to all of these questions. Is there an actual challenge involved? I frequently see people asking for a simple STEM challenge that can be completed in 5 minutes or less. Ask yourself, how challenging, really challenging, is anything that can be completed in 5 minutes or less, other than holding your breath? So you want to be careful of that. It's not that you can never do those, but just try not to do too many of those, right? Because it's too simple. Ask yourself, when you're thinking about this question, do I anticipate that some of my groups might fail? The answer should be yes to that too. If your groups are constantly succeeding at every single STEM challenge, you need to up the ante because you're not challenging them enough. And it's a STEM challenge, not a STEM easy, right? Make sense? Okay, so let's see. The next question, will students beg for another shot to improve their designs? And like realistically, if you gave them another shot, could you see them either improving the efficiency or how well the design performs? Would there be changes the students could make? Answer needs to be yes to this one, right? And then finally on this one, this is the final fix it fast for mistake number 2. Your students should be using the 4 C's of engineering to complete the activity. So do they need to communicate, collaborate, think critically, and be creative? The answers to all of these have to be yes. And the bottom line for this section, guys, do you think that teaching kids not to shy away from a challenge is important? Yes, of course, right? So we need to actually give them true challenges. And furthermore, do you agree that we have a responsibility to teach our kids how to succeed, but also how to fail? And when I say that, I mean fail productively, right? So in order to get them to have that practice, we have to actually be willing to let them go to that point, right? And challenge them enough to get there. So does that make sense? Let's get bold and let's err on the side of making our STEM challenges maybe a little bit too hard. You might be surprised. They might actually meet and exceed your expectations there. The third mistake is running out of time most of the time, which is sort of just how things are these days, right? There's so much we have to do as teachers. It's very easy to run out of time. And so this can cause us not to do STEM challenges at all, or to relegate them only to the holidays, or maybe even skipping, not even just skipping them, but like to do fewer than you could, or to condense them down to the point where we're really doing them only at a surface level and not digging down deep. We're stripping some of these STEM challenges of the most valuable parts because we're running out of time to get to them. So that sort of relates a little bit back to the first mistake. A lot of the time, if we're running out of time, we'll keep the build and we'll kind of cut out some of those post phases, which we don't want to do. So how do we fix this one fast? The way that we fix this fast, first of all, is we reprioritize a little bit. So when you're feeling pressured to cover all of these standards and all of these different things you're supposed to do, take a step back for a moment and ask yourself if your students are really retaining the things that we're covering. Sometimes I think it makes sense for us to stand in and be sort of the stopgate for all the pressures put upon us so that we don't accidentally put those all upon our students when we can shield them from some of it. Your students are very likely to remember memorable learning experiences, and STEM challenges fall into that category. Just think back about your own educational career when you were in elementary school. What things have stuck in your mind? They're probably some of those really exciting hands-on activities. So we want to have more of those in our classroom. The next thing you want to think about is content integration, especially if you're a self-contained teacher. You can steal some minutes from ELA, you can steal some minutes from those other subject areas when you're integrating them and connecting extensions to your current STEM challenges, and get creative with your schedule in that way. There are often more tweaks than you think you have when you go looking for them. Does that make sense? So, real talk. I accidentally moved ahead there for just a second. Do you see how important it can be for us to take a step back and really look at how we're implementing STEM challenges to see if there are places where we can make improvements so that our students can develop more of the skills we're looking for them to develop? Because the thing is, our kids, if we want them to thrive in the 21st century, in futures that we can't quite predict right now, in jobs that probably don't even exist yet, we need to teach them to be prepared for anything, really anything. And with a few tweaks to our practice, STEM challenges are one of the most powerful educational tool to actually get us to those goals. So I know this was a lot in a very short period of time, but if you like today's live, I'm doing another training that is a deeper dive on this. We could take some live Q&A, and so this was really just a small taste of what we're doing. It's a free live webinar. It's called STEM Challenges from Fluff to Fire, 3 keys to STEM challenges that create gritty, future-proof kids, not just a cute craft and a mess, right? Giant mess. So I hope that you'll join me. We're going to take what we learned here. We're going to dive even deeper, Plus, it's going to be a full 1 hour. We're going to have time to dive into some more details and actually do some live Q&A as well. It's going to be live. You're not going to want to miss it. Trust me on this one. And where you can find that is at this website, and I will add a link into the description as well, bit.ly/flufftofire, and you can get all the details about what we'll be talking about, and you can register there. So I hope that I will see you there, and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.